The drone is out there. Let me turn this thing around. I'm flying it from in here though. As you can see, I've got the goggles on so I can see what the drone sees, FPV style. And it's a lot easier to fly when it's cold outside. Just don't get out of your car, you know what I mean? Put your helmet on. I mean, your helmet. Put your goggles on. And just crank the heat and make sure you don't sit. If you're tall like me, make sure you sit way down in the seat and because your antennas will get broken. Make sure you sit way down. I got my seat pushed all the way back and all the way down, so maybe I won't hit the ceiling with my antennas. So there's the drone over there. It's the Aosinma CG35. Hopefully I won't crash land it on the hood here. A little close-up deal. It's close, but apparently not close enough. Let me go down a little bit. Okay, there it is. There's the drone. Alright, back up drone. Oh, shit. The controls are reversed, of course, when you're in this situation. I fly FPV so often that doesn't really apply. And I forget sometimes. You see the tiny little drone out there, though. It's really good. I mean, if I was a security guard, my God, well, I used to do that job like 20 years ago. And this thing would have been a godsend from the time, for the gigs where I had to patrol a huge, wide open space like New Millennium Studios. My God, their studio lot is big. And then I had to do it at a plantation. And yeah, if I had this, I could have just flown around FPV, and if I saw anything, go focusing on it. And if it needed attention, go drive up. But yeah, these goggles are freaking awesome, man. These are the EV100s. They'll cut your nose though, so you gotta adapt that somehow. Other than that, they're awesome. So I'm gonna do a little more flying before I get out of here. This is the Aosinma CG35. For some reason, I'm not getting good video reception right at the apex of that horseshoe-shaped parking lot. But everywhere else, I'm getting good controller signal and good FPV video signal. I'm flying back towards myself now directly. I guess I'm about 20 feet up in the air. Let me have a look. Where's the drone at? Shit. I hate it when that happens. Alright, well, I don't know where the drone is. It's buzzing around here, so I'm gonna fly out so I can see myself. Or not myself, but the drone. It's kind of hard to judge sometimes. Distances and when you're in FPV, and it's always hard for me to judge when using such a fish-eyed lens, the altitude. So yeah, I'm higher than I thought I was, way higher. I thought I was 10 feet off the ground. I'm obviously way higher than that. So let me come down a little bit and slide over in front of the camera. There it is. Just walk it forward a little bit. You know, there's different ways to fly, and line of sight and FPV are totally different. And switching back and forth can be a little disorienting, I guess. But this drone with this battery with the I've taken out a lot of the LEDs that were just for decoration basically, and I've taken off the heavy GoPro camera and replaced it with a 5.8 gigahertz camera from a TinyWoo, and yeah, the battery life is much longer, much longer. When you gut it like that, and it's got that sensor under it, and there's always that ground effect when you get close to an object hovering above it. Ground effect can cause you to move around erratically, or not necessarily erratically, but move around in the hover. And there's also a sensor pointed down on this drone that is telling the drone what's directly under it. So generally it gets some soft landings. And with the guts taken out, the excess, the battery time is definitely closer to 20 minutes. You know, this video has been on for 6 minutes and 40 seconds already, and I was flying for probably 5 minutes before that, so we're already above the 10-minute mark. But there's been a lot of hovering in the wind, and that's where the ESCs and the motors are still working. You know, it's just doing it automatically because I'm in stabilized mode, and GPS is on, so it's got the GPS data going to the quadcopter and the GPS data going to the controller, and they also communicate telemetry data back and forth between the controller and the drone. So it's no surprise this drone does a pretty good hover despite wind conditions or anything like that. And it's got the downward facing sensor, so it does a pretty good hover compared to just about any drone on the market. You know, they're not going to be able to do much better than this in terms of hovering. So there goes the battery. I'm going to go ahead and land it. I'm going to get out, make sure I don't knock my antennas off. So you turn off the goggles, they're recording. I got a DVR recording the goggles footage directly, so I turn that off first. Once I get that stopped recording, then I unplug the goggles and unplug the DVR, and then I turn off or unplug the drone. There's no on-off on this one. And check the heat on the motors, temperature of the motors, and the only one that's even mildly warm is the front right. Could just be a coincidence, but yeah, it's a little holding on to its warmth a little longer than the other ones. Turn off the controller, check to see if the battery's heated. It's not really that hot, it's pretty normal. And then I turn off or unplug the battery on the camera if I can, and I can't, so I gotta unhook the camera first from the camera mount and then unplug it. Got it. Alright. So I'm wondering about this battery in here. If I go up again, I will definitely go ahead and replace that battery. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that out now. Out comes the battery. We'll just wait until the next time we fly to replace that. It's not like you're gonna forget to do the camera on this one. There's so many steps involved, and it's so different flying line of sight as compared to the goggles with this one. Everything is shut down. I'll head back to the house and get something to eat. I'll be back on some point today flying somewhere else. See ya.